Guys, I just started coming at you with some more Pokemon content. This is going to be the first week of like a weekly installment of power rankings for our league. Usually I would like to have a guest on to rank these, but this week it just couldn't really fit into the schedule. The other thing I wanted to say is I will not be ranking myself just because of I think just personal bias. It's hard to truly rank yourself. So yeah, we are going to basically rank the other 6 teams 1 through 6. Or well, we're going to go backwards. We're going to go 6 through 1. But again, you get it. So coming in at number 6 here, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Zack Attack. Basically, most of this is because, I mean, he was the only game that wasn't close. I mean, there was one bye, but, you know. But anyways, this game, he lost 5-0, where the other 2 games were both very close, 1-0 games. So I think the league is actually very close. But again, he just kind of had a poor game. You know, he can obviously improve, and I think he definitely has the potential to improve. In fact, if you were just talking about teams that have improved the most since the draft, I think he would take the cake. Picking up Chansey and dropping Golem, I think, is just a great pickup. It gives him probably the best 2-man wall core in the entire league. Just having the Chansey plus Skarmory core is just so hard to break through, especially if your opponent is not packing knockoff for the Chansey. Let's see, the strengths of his team really, I think, are just he has great walls, like even not only them, but I mean, Chansey, Skarmory, Amoonguss is great. Let's see what else. Registeel can take some hits. Vaporeon can be defensive. Zapdos can be defensive. Or Vaporeon's almost always defensive. Zapdos can be defensive. Celebi. Just great defense overall. Even Gyarados, to be fair. I've seen defensive variants do just fine. Lastly, I mean, in terms of, and that what I would be say his strengths. His weaknesses are kind of exactly the opposite. Because his defenses are so great and his walls, he has so many walls. His offense is a little lacking. I mean, Mega Sharpedo, Flareon, Gyarados, and I would say Celebi and Zapdos, and Vaporeon to an extent can also be offensive. But again, just I don't think that his offenses live up nearly as well to his defenses, and he has to be really careful when he's building his team to make sure that his team is not too passive. If his team is too passive, I could see people setting up on him and walking all over him. But again, just he should be able to handle that, I think, with sound prep, and again, he has some options to handle setup mods. Coming in at number 5, I went with the Thundurus. The Thundurus actually lost a very, very close game week 1. They jumped out into a large lead, actually, and kind of just threw it away. There were some good plays on the other side, too, but there was also some maybe mistakes from the Thundurus. I don't actually, he made some transactions this week, and I don't actually love them. I personally think that they made his team weaker, but again, I mean, it's not my call, but I personally don't love his transactions. He dropped probably one of the best, if not the best, ways to get rid of hazards in the entire league in Excadrill in order to pick up Landorus T, which I think is actually not that bad. Like I don't think in terms of power level there's a huge difference there. I think Landorus T is arguably as good as Excadrill. In a league format, it's very flexible, much like Excadrill. It can be offensive or defensive. It can, I don't know, it can set up rocks. You could throw Scarfs on both of them, just make them very hard-hitting offensive threats. But the biggest reason I don't like this pickup is if you look up and down his roster now, he has very, very few ways to actually get rid of rocks or hazards in general. He has Salamence that can run Defog, and he also has Sand Slash, but that's a tier 5 mon. You don't really want to bring that week in and week out if you can help it. So, and then the other thing he did was he dropped Tyranitar for Victini. I don't hate dropping Tyranitar. I don't really think his team needed Tyranitar a ton, especially because I think to him the Tyranitar Excadrill was kind of a package, and he wanted to. We talked about all this in the transaction video, but I think there might have been a better mon to pick up than Victini. Like I would have loved to see like a Starmie, for example. Helps with his water weakness he has, and also is a spinner to get rid of rocks. Again, so I think the strengths and offenses are pretty obvious here. Also, the other thing about the Victini pickup I don't love is simply the fact that he already has Inte, and Inte's kind of just an offensive fire type, much like Victini. Again, we'll see. I mean, it helps his sun core a little bit. Definitely gives him more ways to abuse the sun. But anyways, so the strengths and weaknesses of his team, I think, are really that he does have a lot of ways to abuse the sun on his team. Just the fact that he gets like sun boosted V create, sun boosted sacred fire. He gets and he has two sweepers that get chlorophyll, Venusaur and Victory Bell, that can really abuse that sun. But his weaknesses really, I think, are just that outside of the sun, his team is actually pretty slow. In fact, his fastest Mon, I believe, is Manectric, and that's the only thing he has over the base 100 speed tier. I'd like to see a little bit more speed out of him. And then also for a roster with 4 rock weaknesses on it, he's a little light on hazard removal. Coming in at number 4 is our Team Instinct, which is they had a bye this week, so I don't really have a ton to comment on his game, obviously, but I do want to go ahead and say that I do like his transaction he made this week. I think picking up Mega Altaria and dropping Mega Tyranitar is a good pickup. I think a lot of people would agree that Mega Tyranitar is actually just worse than his regular counterpart, simply because regular Tyranitar gives you a lot of flexibility in items and stuff, whereas Mega Tyranitar obviously does not. And Mega Altaria is actually very flexible. She can do, I guess it could be a he, but when I see her, or when I see Altaria, I think female for whatever reason. But anyways, Mega Altaria can... he can be defensive, offensive. He can be specially offensive or physically offensive. He can set up. He can be a cleric. He can do a lot of different things. His typing is great. Just absolutely wonderful typing. Just owns dragons, which is nice. I much like the in terms of strengths and weaknesses. I feel the same way actually almost about the previous team as I do this team. And his team is actually pretty slow. He has nothing with the over base 100 speed tier, and the only thing he has there is the Flygon. I would like to see like a Trick Room setter or a Sticky Web user on his team to really kind of mitigate that a little bit. His strengths, I think he has just very good offensive bulk. Just so many just bulky offensive threats that can take a lot of hits and while dealing a lot of damage. Has a little Dragon Fairy Steel Core with only 2 Mons in the Altaria, and then either the Scizor or the Ferrothorn. I like too about his team that even though he has those 2 very crippling fire weaknesses on Scizor and Ferrothorn, he actually has, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He has 6 resistances to fire on his team, which I really like. Also, this maybe is the best team in the league to handle dragons, just because of the Scizor and Ferrothorn, as well as the Altaria. Moving on to number 3, I went ahead and put the Orlando Magikarp. They actually lost their game, but it was a very good game, and I think he played pretty well. He showed off just how great Blissey can be, I think. It healed so much health that game. If we tracked that stat, I'm sure Blissey would be in the lead by a huge amount. Just wish passing into low mons to basically fill him back up to full health, and it was great to see. I would like to see him better utilize his Mega. It essentially just got one shot by a Lapras of all things, but again, whatever. Played well, close game throughout. I really wish he would have brought a way to remove hazards, especially knowing that his opponent has access to sticky webs and toxic spikes. So I think he might have actually had it on his Aerodactyl, and we just didn't get to see it because it got one shot by a Lapras. Strengths of this team, I think it's a very well-rounded team. Actually, I look at this team and I don't see a ton of huge holes in terms of like, man, he has way too many walls, or not enough walls or not enough offense or slow or whatever. I don't see a ton of weaknesses in that regard. I love actually that he has a ton of win conditions. I mean, he has a ton of things that can set up: Scolipede, Haxorus, Mega Aerodactyl, even to an extent, Azumarill. Just a lot of different ways to actually, a lot of different win conditions. Weaknesses, actually, I look at this team and I see kind of a general way to lack of ways to remove hazards. Really, I think it's only the Mega Aerodactyl and the Hitmonchan. And Mega Aerodactyl, you kind of just want to be hitting as hard as you can things with. You don't want to lose coverage. And Hitmonchan's kind of a lower tier. And because of this, it could put pressure on his teammates down the road in order to find ways to remove those hazards. Coming in at number 2, I went with Dizzy Falcon. I think he played a pretty good game, actually. He was put kind of into a corner at the beginning of the game and made some great plays in order to come back. And well, I mean, he did receive a little bit of luck with some of the. There was a little bit of. He definitely played well to get that game back, but there was a few questionable plays as well on the other side. When I look at this team here, I just think hyper offense. Just so many good offensive threats. Weavile, Azelf, Mega Sceptile, Keldeo, just such offensive presence there. Good typing synergy between them. I like a lot as well. Like he has a fire, or not. I'm sorry, not a fire. A fighting dark psychic core. He has a strong dragon. He has just a very, very strong, like I said, just offensive core. Strengths, really, I mean, like I just said, he has a very, very scary offense. Fastest team in the league, probably by a decent amount. I would say if I was going to say weaknesses to this team, I don't actually love that really his only thing he's probably ever going to bring to be a spinner is Fortress. I just don't like having something that predictable. Like I don't like when your opponent really knows one of your mons every single week, no matter what. And really, again, that's really the only thing he's going to bring, I think, to remove hazards. I think maybe Butterfree learns a way to get rid of rocks, but again, since it's 4 times weak to Stealth Rocks, I don't really think it's a great spinner or a great way to remove hazards. Also, he has essentially no reliable walls on his team. If he ever gets behind, he's going to be, well, actually I say he's going to be in trouble, but like if he doesn't have very many things that switch in he doesn't have reliable switch-ins to things, to a lot of different things, simply because of his lack of defense. Maybe he can make it work. We'll see as the season goes on. Of course, that only leaves one team left. So the number 1 team, I believe, going after week 1 is John Jackson Sucks. It was a very long, grindy match that he was in, and he didn't flinch. He played well. He won, obviously. That's why he's number 1. He made maybe the best play of the week, actually, and a pretty cool double switch that was able to kill his opponent's Mega. Strengths. His team's actually very well balanced. It is a very unpredictable team. Simply the fact that he has Mew as well as Infernape. Those are just 2 of the most versatile threats or Pokemon in the format. Mew literally can be offensive, defensive, specially offensive, specially defensive, physically, like just anything really. And Infernape really is only going to be offensive, but it has a huge move pool. It can learn Stealth Rocks. It can do a lot of different things. Just 2 of the most unpredictable ones in the entire format. Weaknesses, I don't see a ton of weaknesses. He doesn't have a ton of walls that are able to outlast other walls. What I mean by that is really his only true thing that has reliable recovery that is a wall is Gliscor, who of course has Roost. But again, just not a ton of ways to, like, he has a lot of like what I would call pivots, like Tentacruel, who can be very defensive and take a lot of hits. He has even something like Bronzong, but again, just very few. They don't really have reliable recovery, so it kind of hinders them a little bit to mainly being more bulky pivots. Also, his team is just a touch on the slow side, I would say. I think his fastest mon is the I forgot Neuvern is so fast. Neuvern is like what 122 speed. Yeah, okay, I take that back. Really, I think maybe just it's the lack of reliable recovery on most of his walls. I think that would be the biggest weakness there. Um, yeah, that's all I got to say for the power rankings this week. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys disagree, you know, let me know. Let me see your order in the comments. Just let me know what you guys think. Thanks again for watching, guys, and you guys have a great day.